Hello and welcome to Leader Spotlight. I'm Tracy Clark, the Executive Director for the Louisa County Chamber of Commerce. And today I'm excited to introduce you to Karen Welch. She is the Executive Director for the Louisa Arts Center, and she is also the Honorary Chair for our 2024 Leadership Louisa program. So excited to have you here, Karen. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about you and your background. How did you get to Louisa?
Sure. It was a bit of a long route, if you can probably gather from the accent, for those of you who haven't met me before. I started, I was born in England, worked in England, and for most of my life, started in HR, but then quickly moved into leadership and management business development. That led me to working for a London company around the world. And we worked with universities and colleges to basically decide what the standards were for leadership and management in industry. And then I was involved in the business development side, working with governments in different countries all over the world, to basically try to discuss how that country, what type of leadership and management skills they needed to increase productivity in their industry and, of course, then in their country.
Extensive leadership background. I love it. You're the perfect person to have involved with this program. And I know you've been involved for a couple of years now, but tell me a little bit more about kind of your role. We started together roughly 5 years ago. It's been pretty exciting 5 years. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Art Center, kind of, what has happened over the last 5 years for you? What is now happening with the Art Center? Give us some feedback on what's happening there.
Yes, I mean, coming to the Arts Centre was different for me. It was the first time actually in Louisa that the Arts Centre's had a female executive director, and particularly someone with a business background. Previously, we've had those that have been in the theatre and the art world. So this was quite a departure for the Arts Centre, but I knew that they were ready for that. And so my bringing my skills, I've worked in non-profits for over 30 years, and bringing the leadership and management skills to the Arts Centre, I was able to, as you were, navigate through COVID, which struck us literally just a year after we started.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, for everybody in the whole world, that was devastating and was frightening. And one thing I wanted to do was to make sure that the Arts Centre thrived. So it's funny that what really struck me to start with was I met so many people that had a real passion for this place. And it's infectious.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of, amateur photographer, so I do love art, but, not in any big way. Apart from, I always wanted to be an actress when I was a small child. So I'm kind of in the world that I kind of dreamt about, but I enjoy the business side of it. So navigating through COVID was a big thing. And then since then, really what I've tried to do is expand everything that we do in arts and entertainment. So we have concerts, we have arts classes, we have beautiful galleries, and I'm sitting in our gallery with an exhibition, which is amazing. So I wanted to expand that. And what I realized was that not everybody in our community were actually coming into the centre to enjoy everything. So I decided to take us out to the community. And I did that by acquiring an old school bus, which we've now renovated and redecorated. This is now our arts bus, and I implemented a program just over 2 years ago called the Mobile Arts Outreach Program. We go out to underserved areas, we go out to communities and groups that, for whatever reasons aren't able to come into us, and we try and support those communities and those groups of people that are disadvantaged. So that has been fabulous, and it's raised the profile of the Arts Centre, and it's really, really got us within this community because we've got a fabulous community, and we can do more to attract, more people into our community, which will obviously make growth within our businesses and our organizations as well.
Yeah, I have loved watching the journey of the Art Center, and certainly with you and I starting kind of at the same time, and going through the motions of what we faced with the changing environment and circumstances, and getting to know this fabulous community of Louisa, right? And just the, even just today celebrating and working together on the 150th anniversary for the town. I mean, it's really been an incredible journey, I think, and just to watch what the art center has become. And then even just knowing you and some of the ideas and the visions that you have for really making it a draw and attraction, and really a cultural center for all ages. I mean, I just think it's really impressive. You've opened up where you're doing movies there, and really paying attention to what the community is asking for and wanting. Plus, not to mention, it's just a fabulous place right there in the historic town hall, the refurbished school. It's just, yeah, it's incredible what you've done, and your team and your growth. I've certainly appreciated watching you and what you're doing, and learning from you as well. Collaborating on a number of things. It's been quite impressive. You're definitely making a mark as a leader in this community, not just with the art center, but just leading the community. The outreach with the mobile bus is very impressive. So kudos to you for all the hard work that you've been doing. It's quite exemplary.
Back at you.
Yeah.
As a fellow
Well,
executive director of Louisa, yeah, back at you. It's great that we're working together. I've enjoyed it so much, and I know you and I are very passionate about the community we're in, and I know we've got still a lot of ideas that we want to put forward to make us grow even more.
yeah, and that's what's really exciting about Leadership Louisa. I mean, that program, that it's just in its third year, and you've been involved from the beginning. I remember the first year, we hosted at your location, and then with your background in leadership, and what I want to talk a little bit about is just your background with leadership and management, and how do you see, with what the knowledge that you have about the program that we've brought into this community, how do you feel that competes? A lot of times people look at, it's Louisa, right? Like, can you speak to a little bit about the caliber of the program that we're offering compared to, some of the other programs that you've been involved with?
Yeah, sure. As you say, I was involved the first year supporting the program. I was so impressed that I put two of my members of staff, and I've only got a very small team here, but two members of staff were in this year's program, and I'm putting forward someone into next year's program. So having worked in leadership and management and in the development of a program and of standards, there's two parts to it that are equally important. There is the academic side, so the theory side of how we can see the skills that are required as the world is ever changing. So not just Louisa, but how everything is changing. We need to adapt those leadership and management skills in the theory side. Then there's the practical application, and that obviously is very important. You can't do one without the other. You need the knowledge and the skills to then put that into practice to help even you as one person, what you do and how you lead your own department or your own business or part of an organization. Every single person is leading in their own right. So it's very, very important. And one thing that always struck me when I worked globally was we came up against some resistance from some organizations and companies that didn't really want to spend that money to invest. So when when the budgets are tight, people tend to invest in what makes money, and that normally is a product,
Right.
something that they sell. That's really what people, and then when it comes to anything like staff development, the training budgets, they're the ones that get cut first. And I've seen that firsthand all the time. But the one thing I've always impressed on everyone is that you really have to be careful that you don't neglect that, because you may have some really great experienced workers. You might have this electrician that's worked for you for 20 years is fabulous. You know, he's really dependable, absolutely knows everything about the electrical work that you have in your company. So what I've seen so many times is, okay, we'll promote him, we'll make him a manager. So, you know, Bob, when you come in on Monday, that's it, you're a manager. And then they wonder why that person sometimes fails. And it's not because he's any less of an electrician, he still is great, but you haven't given him the skills. You just assumed because he'd worked for so long and he's got all these skills, technical skills, that it'd be easy for him to manage. And it's not.
Yeah.
There are skills involved with that. And that's why, you know, I believe no matter where we are, and we, as you say, talk about little old Louisa, but Louisa is growing and it's thriving. And we, to keep up with that and to make sure that our businesses and our community are successful and continue to grow, then we do have to, you know, support leadership and management in every single organization, and every single business. So to me, it's, you know, incredibly important. But also, having seen 2 people on the Leadership Louisa course come back into the workplace, to see how they grew in such a short space of time, 6 months, that's all they had, but their confidence grew, their initiative grew, and they brought new ideas in. Wow. So my kind of take on Leadership Louisa is there's some fabulous theory that are giving these to our leaders and managers, giving them their skills. But I think an equal important part is the fact that they get to build the relationships and strengthen the collaboration, as we have done, you know, throughout Louisa. And the more we can do that, the more we're going to strengthen businesses and strengthen, you know, everything that we have, that we value in Louisa.
Yeah, I agree with you on all those fronts, especially the, you know, promoting somebody up to management because of length of time or whatever. But if you haven't properly prepared them, you're setting them up for failure. And timing, that was such a good point about the timing right now. People, they cut out training and education and building up their employees. And the irony about that is, like, especially in a workforce crisis or shortage that we're in right now, keeping those employees engaged and growing to maintain and showing that you're investing in them is really, really important right now. So very, very good points. And I want to talk a little bit more about the class itself, because you've mentioned having a couple of employees that you put forth in the program. And just to clarify, you know, you're a nonprofit organization, right? Yeah. So how, as a nonprofit organization, how do you reconcile? I mean, I believe nonprofits are a business just like any other business. I mean, how do you as a nonprofit organization reconcile that with your board to, you know, the value of investing in your employees and your staff?
Having worked in both corporate and nonprofits, I've worked in profitable industries and nonprofit. I have to say that nonprofit, who usually have less money, less disposable money, tend to value their staff and their people more and invest more. And I'm not sure why there's a different way of thinking. Maybe because it's not as cutthroat. Maybe because we're not really, you know, we're not there necessarily to make big profits. So, you know, we have other ways of being in the community and other ways of giving to the community. I mean, our mission is to enhance appreciation and inspire passion for the arts. That's our mission. Yeah. So to do that, I need passionate people. I need people that are going to inspire others. So I really it wasn't a hard sell to my board of directors. It really wasn't. You know, they could see the value. The two members of staff that we put onto the program were young managers and leaders. But I don't necessarily see this program as just being for young people who don't have as much experience. Right. Because collaborative way that the program is run, because of the real life projects that are given to the groups that they work together. I saw at the end of it that there were relationships and bonds that I think will take them forward for many years to come. People do bond over something. These guys bonded over a project that was set in the Leadership Louisa course, and I know that they'll continue that. So I think I wouldn't necessarily say that it was a difficult sell for me to do, and I would say that having kept the board involved and informed, they were delighted with the outcome for our two staff anyway.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the project, because that's such a huge piece to the program that I don't know that many people actually internalize, right? So it's called the Community Action Project. And for our perspective, setting up that program, it really is a crossroads between business and community. We match up the teams. The class is divided up into their teams or their work groups. And then there's community organizations that have problem statements or something that are posed to those groups to kind of solve. And I witnessed firsthand, you felt the results of that, but I watched these groups. And the interesting thing is it's such a broad perspective of who participates in the class. We had CEOs and business owners all the way down to new, even brand new kind of administrative type that are at the beginning of their path to growth and moving up in their business and organization. And to get that spread of people working together on a project, it's just like you mentioned, bonding and learning and growing. It's just this constant incubator. It's pretty exciting, actually. So I'm thrilled to get your feedback, especially with your experience globally and seeing programs, that it's nice and refreshing to see that, we really are hitting the mark, right, with this program. And I see it, the ideas that come out of these groups. Some of these organizations have taken them and implementing those. It's been pretty exciting to watch. So tell me, is there anything else about the program that you would like to stress to anyone that might be considering, applying or putting forth someone within their organization to participate or potentially even sponsor the event or the program series? Any additional comments or things like that?
You've just hit the nail, actually. I think that we ought to have more people involved, with the sponsoring and involved, with the program, not necessarily as an applicant. I would love every single, if we could manage it, everybody within every business within an organization within Louisa to be involved at some stage. I would love to see almost a follow-on. I would love to see it develop so that those that we've had in the classes, can come back for more at a later stage. But we're in the infancy. This is year 3, and I would love to see more support for it, from around the community, and I think that will come. I think that those students that have already gone through, they're already spreading the word, and as I say, I think what they will be doing is they'll be taking back something to their community, to their organization, to their business that will actually make a difference. Yeah. And I think then see that and say, okay, well, we want a piece of this. So, I'd be more than happy, and I think I'm privileged. I thank you for giving me the honorary chair position. I will certainly be using that to go out to industry and to talk to the heads of some of our organizations and businesses, and just talk to them about how leadership and management generally can help their business to grow, and obviously promoting Leadership Louisa as one tool that we can use.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned having passionate people, and that's exactly what we need with this. And I'm happy to see people like you that are passionate about the program, our sponsors that we have had since the beginning. We're continually adding more. And then, of course, the alumni, the folks that have been through the program. We've got several videos that we're releasing that are just sharing their own personal experience. Nicole actually has done one. So we'll be putting her. She's one of yours from the Art Center. So yeah, I really appreciate your time, your insights, your enthusiasm for the program. Really grateful to have you on board this year. And I just, for anybody that is interested in more information, certainly you can reach out to Karen at the Art Center. You can reach out to the chamber. If you do want more specific details about applying or participating, you can go to louisaforward.org. That's our foundation that runs the program. You can always go to our chamber website as well, or you can contact me at 540-967-0944. So I'm going to wrap this up and say thank you again, Karen, for your time. And to everybody else, thanks for watching. Hope to see you involved in the near future.
All right. Thanks, Tracy.